Primate Ndokoba reveals the best way to tackle false teachings. Bishop Olaoye calls for intensive prayers to be made to God concerning coronavirus pandemic. Nigerians react as Buhari appoints Professor Ibrahim Gambari as the new Chief of Staff. Hello and welcome to the news on the hour, brought to you from the Advent Cable Network Nigeria ACNN Television. I am Zubechi Frank. You are welcome. With false teachings making rounds and trying to penetrate the Church of God, especially with a serious attention on the revisionists, the Primate of the Church of Nigeria, His Grace the Most Reverend Henry Chukwudum Ndokoba, has revealed the best way to tackle false teachings. Speaking in a special interview with ACNNTV, the Primate opined that the best way to tackle false teachings is by teaching the wholesome truth.
The best way to tackle any false teaching is by teaching the truth, preaching the wholesome word of God, and applying our lives to the same, and making sure that it may not be easy, that we walk the narrow way. And that means sacrifice. That may mean suffering. So, as far as we are concerned, you see this word, unless the Lord calls us home, our desire is to stand by the authority of the Word of God and maintain this heritage that we have as Anglicans, and to teach and live by the principles of this Word of God. And in order to do that, our main problem is not even the revisionist or this or that. It is the sincerity of our own heart and our commitment to the Lord. The issue has to do with who are we serving and who are we committed to. If we will rise up as one man in unity, in faith, in love, and readiness to serve and walk with God in this perilous time, with all that it will take, the revisionist agenda will not stand.
Bishop Abiodun Taiwo Olaoye of Osun North Diocese has urged the people to pray incessantly now against the effect of COVID-19 and also for the future. He made this statement during his message to Christians at the Chapel of Divine Mercy and Miracle, Bishop Scott Okuku.
Pray that God should put an end to his work. Pray that God should remove it from your life. Pray that God should remove coronavirus from the heart. Pray that God should heal those who are afflicted by this virus. Let's pray for them. Let us pray that whatsoever the effect of the situation, whatever negative the enemy wants to achieve by it, nullify it and say, God, let there be glorious future for me. Let my future be glorious. Let it be colorful.
In order to help cushion the harsh effect of the COVID-19 lockdown, more than 500 indigent families in the Diocese of Olu Anglican Communion received at least a bag of rice and yam. The event, which took place at the Cathedral Church of SS Peter and John the Divine in Nkwere in Imo State, was supervised by the Bishop, the Right Reverend Benjamin Okeke, his wife Nobioma Oloma Okeke, and the Diocesan Palliative Measures Committee. The bishop, while admonishing all those present at the event, urged the people to keep praying and trusting God for quick deliverance from the pandemic. He also prayed for God's intervention to those who are affected and advised the people to keep necessary precautionary measures to ensure the stoppage of the spread. He also remarked, however, that COVID-19 is an outcome of man's wickedness and assured the people that God is not asleep to salvage the people from this pandemic. Reactions have continued to trail the appointment of Professor Ibrahim Gambari as the new Chief of Staff to President Muhammadu Buhari. Buhari confirmed Gambari's appointment at the Federal Executive Council meeting. Gambari, who is a Nigerian scholar and diplomat from Kwara State, replaced the late Abakari, who died from coronavirus complications. Reacting, some Nigerians have opined that Gambari will be worse than Kari because he was one of Abacha's allies, while others said he was a good choice. Here are some comments. You are still watching the news on the hour brought to you from the Advent Cable Network Nigeria, and still to come, Lesotho's Prime Minister to resign by May 22nd. That story and more will come your way in a moment. Please stay tuned.
Why do we fall ill? Is it possible to stay without falling ill? Is God interested in our health? Can we get access to cheaper health anywhere? Do you want tips on how to stay healthy? Then join me, Angela Weze, on Health Watch every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. with repeat broadcasts on Thursday at 2 p.m. and Saturday at 1:30 p.m. as health experts provide answers to your questions on how to remain healthy physically, mentally, socially, and spiritually here on. God bless you.
There are a lot of false information about the coronavirus. These are the facts. People of all ages can be affected by the coronavirus. However, older people and people with pre-existing medical conditions such as asthma, diabetes, heart diseases are more vulnerable to the disease. It is not for old people alone. Gargling salt and warm water or chewing garlic and ginger cannot prevent the virus. Drinking alcohol, hot lemon, palm oil or chloroquine will not kill the virus. The virus cannot be transmitted through mosquito bites. Antibiotics do not work against the viruses. Antibiotics work only against bacteria. Boiling pineapple peels, lime and ginger does not kill the virus. Putting raw onions in rooms will not ward off the virus. Using or spraying Dettol, special oils and water all over your body cannot kill the virus. There is no scientific evidence that cooking, drinking, or eating any of these is an effective treatment for coronavirus. Do not self-medicate and take responsibility by sharing only verified messages from health authorities such as NCDC, Federal Ministry of Health, and WHO.
You are welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. For more on our top stories, please visit our website at ACNNTV.com or our social media platforms on Facebook.com or YouTube.com/ACNNTV. To be up to date with our news and other programs, download the VM Africa app from Android and iOS stores. The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 has raised the alarm over an unhealthy practice of some Nigerians who pick face masks from rubbish dumps and sell them. The chairman of the task force and secretary to the government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, who raised the alarm at the PTF press briefing in Abuja, warned that such a practice would worsen the spread of COVID-19 in the country. He also said northern state governments, which had been evacuating the Quranic school pupils, popularly known as Amajiri, to their states of origin, should suspend it. The Supreme Court has dismissed the appeals brought by Chief Chris Uba and Dr. Obinna Uzo challenging the election of Senator Ifeanyi Uba as the senator representing Anambra South Senatorial District. The apex court, in a unanimous judgment delivered by Justice Sylvester Nguta, who led 4 other justices of the court, held that the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, lacks the territorial jurisdiction to determine a matter that arose from the primary election conducted in Anambra State, saying that the cause of action emanated from Anambra State and not the FCT. At the hearing of the appeals brought by Chris Uba and Obinna, they had prayed the Supreme Court to set aside the decision of the Court of Appeal, which had forwarded the judgment of Justice Bello Kawu of the FCT High Court, and allow the appeal on the grounds that the FCT High Court has territorial jurisdiction over pre-election matters, among other issues raised in the appeal. The court also awarded the cost of 250,000 naira each against the respondents in favor of Senator Uba. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission has ordered its Edo and Ondo state offices to reopen immediately in preparation for the upcoming governorship elections scheduled for September 19th and October 10th, respectively. The electoral umpire stated these in its guidelines for resumption after COVID-19 lockdown released via Facebook. It directed its staff to work 3 days a week on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. while advising those who do not have personal means of transportation to work from home. And now to the international scene. Lesotho's Prime Minister Thomas Thabane has reportedly decided to resign by May 22nd following pressure to vacate the office due to unresolved political crisis that erupted last year. According to a spokesman, Thabane's departure would resolve the political crisis and end a career marked by exile, political feuding, intrigue and strains with the military. The Prime Minister had been under pressure to resign over a case in which he and his current wife are suspected of conspiring to murder his former wife nearly 3 years ago, but they denied any involvement. A news agency quoted Thabane in an interview as saying he would send a resignation letter to King Letsie III. He is required to step down by the end of next week to make way for a new government after his coalition fell apart on Monday, but he had not signaled when he intends to go. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro has announced that he was extending his country's lockdown measures against the coronavirus for a further 30 days. Maduro imposed the nationwide lockdown on March 13th and has previously extended it in mid-April. He said 423 infections had been detected in the crisis-one South American country, with 10 deaths. However, those figures have been challenged by his opposition rival, Juan Guaido, who says the number of infections and the death toll from the virus are far greater in a country where the health service has collapsed during years of economic crisis. In principle, people are allowed to leave their homes only for medical visits or to shop for food, but violations are increasing, especially in the poorest regions of the country, where people mostly survive in the informal economy. Meanwhile, Venezuela announced it was prolonging until June 12th the suspension of all flights to and from the country. Moving on to round leather game now, FIFA has disclosed that the Women's Under-17 World Cup, due to be held in India in November, has been postponed for 3 months, adding to a growing list of sporting events hit by the pandemic. The tournament, to be played in 5 cities across the country, according to the football's governing body, will not start February 17, 2021. India is looking to boost its international standing as a host of top sporting events after holding the Men's Under-17 World Cup in 2017. FIFA also unveiled new dates for its year's Under-20 Women's World Cup in Costa Rica and Panama. It will now be played from January 20th till February 6th, 2021. Well, that's all we have for the news on the hour. I want to thank you profusely for watching. Till next time, I am Zubechi Frank. Bye-bye.